Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Brothas-in-law. On this channel, we discuss police involved incidents that occur around the country, and we give our analysis on the actions of those police officers to see if their actions are what a reasonable officer would do. We also look at the actions of the citizens to see if they follow our acronym that we've come up with, which stands for comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. Would their situation had turned out differently? And now we know we got your keyboard warriors out there, and you may agree or disagree with us. And that's totally fine, man. We ain't trying to get in no pissing contest and police this, police that. We ain't about all that. We're just telling you how it could have turned out differently and why sometimes these things end up the way they do. And that's it. Hopefully giving you the acronym of calm or helping you utilizing this acronym to ensure that you make it safely through the traffic stop, to make it harder for that one officer. If you watched our video from last week, you never know what type of officer you're going to get. And so by staying calm, answering questions, listening, and moving on, you're doing these things. It makes it harder for that officer to do something stupid, and that he or she will end up ultimately regretting. And so to make sure you are able to drive away safely from that traffic stop. So if you're new to our channel, my name is Corey, and I'm a former Virginia State Trooper, and I'm a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer. And my co-host is Mr. Michael Bradley. Welcome, my brother.
What's good? Jesus loves you. I see you on the show. Badass thing. I see you. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bradley. I'm the co-host of the show. 26-year Northern California law enforcement police officer, retired. Also a 6-year Army veteran. We got a good video lined up today, and it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of good points to talk about, Corey, on this particular video. And keep in mind, this is on the highway. This is what your jurisdiction was like. You know what I'm saying, Corey? So it was on the highway, not in the city, and there's a lot of good talking points on this video. This is pretty interesting. Happened July, a little female deputy got into a scuffle.
Yep. And as always, if you like this content, we ask you to go ahead, please, right now, hit that like, share, and subscribe button for us. Let's get into it.
All right. Here we go. Let me set it up real quick. Okay, this happened in July this year in Arkansas. Arkansas trooper. She was on patrol, and this vehicle out of nowhere comes speeding past her, 100 plus miles an hour. That's all I'm gonna say. That's how this starts. Here we go.
And
that's the vehicle in front of her right here. 100 plus.
An article I read said that he was doing 114.
Now, folks, you can get arrested for driving 100 plus miles an hour over speed limit. You can actually get arrested for that. Keep that in mind.
Get out of the car. Get out. Get out of the Wait. Okay, let me stop right there because I know we don't want to pause it too much, but I think there's stuff to talk about that leads up to this. So this person thought it was okay to speed past this trooper at 100 plus miles an hour. That's what caught the trooper's attention. That's why the trooper got behind him and pulled him over. Now, Corey, I'm gonna let you step in here for a minute because as soon as she stops him, she walks up to the car and she immediately opens the door. I'm assuming because she's going to arrest him and going to take him out of the car.
Yeah. I mean, the article I read from the Arkansas State Police website said he was doing 114. And so as an officer, when you're in that high rate of speed, you know, a lot of things are going through your mind. Like, okay, why is it going this fast? What's going on? You're trying to watch there, get close enough to us, try to watch what's going on the inside of the vehicle, you know, while you're trying to get them stopped. Mm-hmm. Then once you get them stopped, typically I'm going to go ahead and pull you out the car as soon as I get up on you. Now, the only problem I have with this officer is she puts her whole body inside the car. You don't want to do that because he could have held on to her and drove off with her and then try to, you know, push her out. So, I mean, for me, that's a huge officer safety issue right there. And we always say time is on our side, too. If you're and I know, you know, we do it all the time. We pull people over by ourselves. We've gotten a lot of pursuits, pulling people over and going up to and being able to handle them in this situation. But I'm sure at this point she smelled the alcohol exiting, you know, his person. And so, she wants to go ahead and get him out of that vehicle right now.
So here's my take on now. This is coming from a city cop versus a highway patrol or state trooper. You know, my cover, I was fortunate to where if I called for cover, it was usually less than 3 minutes, 2 minutes away. It wasn't long. So we were one person per car, but our cover unit, if we called for cover, was pretty quick to get there. Now, my only issue here is she goes up to the car and without saying anything, she immediately opens his door and she grabs him. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Corey, it's off the safety issue where she could get dragged away from the car. But let's look at it from his standpoint. Although he should, he don't know what she's doing. You know, why is she grabbing on me, opening up my door and grabbing me and trying to get me out of the car? Now, common sense for a regular person would know, well, if I drive 100 miles an hour past the cops, I'm going to get pulled over and they're going to come up here and they're going to talk to me and they're probably going to want me to get out of the car. Right?
Well, that's what a reasonable person
That's what a reasonable citizen would think.
Keep in mind, he's not in a reasonable state of mind. The guy at this point, I mean, we already know that he was drunk. And so, you know, I probably would have done. I would have I need to step out of the vehicle. I probably would have made my spew right there. Hey man, I need you to step out of the car now. If he didn't move, and that's what we didn't catch, you know, in the beginning. Did she tell him in the beginning? Because, you know, her body camera, I don't think she had a body camera because I couldn't find one. But
I think it was just the car.
The dash cam, you know, then the sound didn't kick on right away. So she might have said something to him prior to opening the door, simultaneously, hey, step out of the vehicle. And he didn't. Well, you know, now you have another barrier to them, Mike. according to the website, it was stated that this gentleman is illegal. So there could be some type of language barrier there too. Him not knowing,
yeah,
you know,
if you don't understand what she's saying, really,
right,
what's going on.
Right.
If he is illegal immigrant who he maybe he doesn't know what to do, or maybe he doesn't realize that you about to get pulled over. You know what I'm saying? And we about to get you out of the car. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he don't understand none of that. That's possible. And like Badass was saying, he could have pushed her into traffic.
Right. 100%. And that's why I say that's an officer safety issue, man. You don't want to reach your whole body into. And I get it. She was trying to get the try to get the keys out of the ignition. But at the same time, now you don't do it. I mean, granted, as a female, this is a guy. Did she have enough strength to, just to forcibly yank him out the car?
Right.
And so in her eyes, she probably was thinking, hey, I could just reach in there and take out, because I can't right now pull him out. But I don't want him to drive off either. However they do their officer safety training, me personally, that's not how I would have done it. But again, no two officers are going to handle the exact same stop the exact same way.
Yeah. Now, for me, if it was in the city and I'm used to having cover units, if I know I'm going to go hands on, put my hands on you, I'm gonna wait for my cover unit. Yeah. Okay. And then we're both going at it. You know
but see, that's the big thing between state and city cops. You got to be able to handle your own on the highway, on the interstate, because my nearest backup may be 20 minutes away. Because in my area, I covered 3 cities, so we split that up between in different zones, and depending on the manning, it might only be 2 of y'all working in 3 cities.
Yeah.
And so if he or she is tied up, hey, it's been plenty of times you gotta get people out the car, and they like, let me at least go ahead and try and start this, and then hopefully by the time you do have to go hands on, they're pulling up. It was always difficult at times to get a city cop to come up, because the relay between our dispatch and the city dispatch, their sense of urgency might not be there. For example, when I was on in a fight on the interstate, the comms got mixed up between the state and the city so much it seemed like where's my backup? Like, I'm telling you to call the city guys, get them out, because I know they'll be out here faster than a trooper would, because we were at the end of shift change.
Yeah.
And so
Tone, this is a question for you. Tone says, shouldn't the officer approach from the passenger side? Is that something you guys did on the highway?
It depends. You a lot of times, for me, being left-handed, I always wanted to do it. It didn't matter really for me, but it depended on where you were. In this case here, where she's at, I would have done a passenger side approach. But driving at high rate of speed like this guy is, you're more likely going to do a driver's side approach, because you're going to probably want to get him or her out the vehicle. So it's always it's an officer's decision, and it's going to be based upon what that officer feel is safe to do.
So what we're trying to address here, folks, is should she have gone up and immediately opened the door and tried to get him out of the car? That's up in the air. Like I said, like Corey was saying, your cover unit might be 30 minutes away. You on your own. You know what I'm saying? Or if your cover unit is quick, I will wait for the cover unit before I go hands on. You know what I'm saying? So, what we don't see here is, did she give him a command to get out of the car first?
Right.
And did he understand that? If English is his second language, did he understand her commands?
Right.
Here we go. Let's keep it moving.
So it sounds like she tasing him.
Right. Yeah. I believe she gave him the command to get out. He refused to, and she said she was going to tase him.
Roll over right now. Why? Roll over. Why? Roll over. I'm going to pull the trigger. Why? Roll over. Roll over. Roll over on your stomach. Now, roll over. I feel like why? Roll over. Wait. Roll over on your stomach. Roll over. On your stomach. Okay, I'm done. Roll over. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Roll over. Okay. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. No. Roll over. I'm tired. Roll over. Okay.
So she tasing him because she trying to get him to roll over on his stomach. The question is, Corey, does he truly understand what she is trying to do? Yeah, she keeps saying roll over, but does he understand her? You know what I'm saying? All he knows is he's getting tased, and he wants to know why. That's his side of the story. Now, keep in mind, folks, for our viewers, this is a female officer versus a male driver who is by herself. She cannot lose control of him and this situation because her life might depend on it. Okay. Right. You don't know what he is up to, what he is capable of doing, or what he will be afraid to do, or whatever. You don't know. Okay. So what she has to do is maintain, since she went hands-on, she got to maintain physical control of this guy. She has to, because her life could depend on it. What you say, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, now you definitely are dealing with that language barrier, right? Yeah, that's why, I mean, she probably should have slowed down, before making the decision to go ahead and just snatching him out the car and not really getting a feel for the situation. Once you start asking questions and he's not responding. Now, a lot of times we'll play dumb with you. It's been my experience. Some of them would try to play, dumb with you, and then you're like, all right, this is great. Now what we do? You got to go through the channels and try to get somebody who can speak, Spanish or whatnot. And a lot of times, like I said, you can say, hey, man, your shoe's untied, and they look right down at their shoelace. And, you know what I mean? So now I know you understand what's going on. All right, let's quit the BS and let's handle our business here and get on our way. Yeah. I think if she'd have slowed it down just a little bit on her approach, she probably wouldn't have had it to go hands on right away. But again, we weren't there. We don't know what the situation really was. Was he getting ready to pull? Now, reading the article, it was saying that he had his hand on the gear shift, like he was getting ready to put it back in gear and drive off. That's why she reached into the vehicle and snatched the keys out from him. And at that time, she was giving him the commands to get out. Again, you don't know how far her backup is, so she's got to maintain positive control of the scene. But I mean, now this is the choice she made. Now she's got to roll with it.
Yeah, I agree. If she would have, let's assume that she had some time to wait for cover or actually communicate with him before snatching him out. Let's assuming she had the time to do that, I would have waited and slowed it down. You could still talk to him as he's sitting in the driver's seat. You know what I'm saying? So even if you're about to arrest him, Wait before, if you can, wait for your cover unit to get there. Make sure he verbally understands what you're saying, whether you're playing dumb or not. Make sure he does. In California, illegal immigrants can get a driver's license. You don't have to be a citizen in California. Really? So he had to pass the test to get that.
Well, this is Arkansas. So,
but this is I see it looks like he got a California plate.
Well, it could be a rental car. But Tone asked a good question, Mike, and I didn't carry a taser, so this is probably one for you. If the suspect doesn't understand the language, does that give the right to tase?
It depends on the situation, Tone. Should the officer have reasonably known that he didn't understand what she was saying? You know what I'm saying? You'd have to show that. If that's the case, if I tase you and I know that you don't understand what I'm telling you to do, well, I'm not going to tase you because you don't understand what I'm saying. But if you start putting up a fight with me, well, that tells me in some degree, to some level, you understand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? If I tell you to get out of the car and you're refusing to get out of the car, but you're trying to drive off or whatever you're trying to do, you would have to show that, Tone, that officer knew clearly that he didn't understand what she was saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Most of the time, they understand some English. You know what I'm saying? I've come across some where they didn't understand any English, and I've come across some that they understand some English, basic stuff, especially if you get pulled over by the cops. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends. In this situation, she sped things up, Corey. You know what I'm saying? So she was committed. Once she went hands-on, she was committed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and there's some I like to think of as international language where I point to you and say, out here, you out here. You kind of will get, well, is he telling me to get out? You know what I mean? By just my hand signals and gesture, pointing to you, telling you to get out here with me, maybe he could have done something like that instead of going straight tasing on him. But again, now she's committed to it. Now, question is it right or wrong? Well, we have to look at what their policy says, but on how she should have handled that and tasing him was the grounds for being tased. I mean, of course, he's not going to obey your commands because he doesn't know your language.
Assuming he doesn't understand. He keeps saying why. So that tells me he understands something of what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Why? Because he asked the question, why are you tasing me?
Yeah. So he understands to some degree. You know what I'm saying? Because he wouldn't be saying why. He's trying to question why she's doing what she's doing. So that tells me he understands English enough to where he understands basic commands. You know what I'm saying?
True.
All right, let's keep going. Oops. Here we go. That's the first time I heard her saying you going to jail. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear her say that when she opened the door. I didn't hear her say that. I didn't hear her give any explanations, or not that you have to extensively explain everything that's going on, but I didn't hear her give a basic command for him to get out of the car or understand what's going on to any degree. You know what I'm saying? However, that being said, you still need to do what the officer's telling you to do, whether you understand it or not. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what's going on. Does he understand rollover? Does he understand that? Or he just trying to be defiant and say, why are you tasing me? He keeps saying, why? Why are you tasing me? Why do I have to roll over? What's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Right. So perhaps if she would have communicated with him from the start a little bit more, she would have had a better grasp on whether he understands what she's saying and whether he is being resistive to what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And even if he would have pulled off, okay, fine. He pulled off, you jump back in your car and you continue on with the pursuit. At least by then you'd had, a cover unit catch up to you. Then on that, and at that second time you get him stopped, then hey, definitely going hands on and snatching you out the vehicle.
Yeah. Here we go.
I'm going to my house. Roll over. I'm going to my house. I'm going to my house. No. Why? I need some cookies. Why? Why? What's this? I need this one. What is it? Why? Into my thumb. Into my thumb. Give me that taser now. No. Into my thumb.
She shot her weapon. It looked like it grazed the head or something. Okay, here a lot to talk about it to this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have this random citizen who saw this officer in trouble. She decided to help out. And as an officer, Corey, I mean, I'm never going to tell a citizen to put themselves in harm's way. In other words, I'm never going to say you must stop and help the officer, because obviously I don't want you to end up hurt, killed, or whatever because you decide to help. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, if I'm the officer that's struggling, I certainly ain't going to say get away if you are helping me, because I could be on my last leg. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I've encountered both ways, Mike. The one time, fight on the side of the road close to the house. A passerby saw me fighting. We were actually in the roadway. We weren't on the shoulder like she is here. We were actually in the road, fighting in the road. And the guy saw, flipped back around and asked me, "Trooper, can I help?" I said, "Yeah, step on his effing neck." He's like, "What?" I said, "Step on his effing neck." And he leaned down and put his knee on his neck, which allowed me to get some leverage, because all I was doing kept punching him in the head, because the guy was he was drunk and high on crack cocaine. And he was just exhibited so much strength. I was like, God, dog, I know I can get this mug. And I had his right arm so far back, he could scratch his head with his right arm. I told him I was gonna break his arm if he didn't give it to him, but it was because he put his knee down on his neck for me, allowed me to get leverage to get his other arm up, and boom, I was able to get him cuffed. And then that was it. And then he got in his car and left, so I was never able to stop. Thank that gentleman. The other time was the same thing. Got into was in pursuit, ended in a crash. Guy jumps out the car, takes off running. I get him, tackle him down. We start scuffling on the ground. I get him down. Guy comes running up. Hey, troop, I'm a former or retired deputy. That's what he said. And I said, no, get the F away from me. Because I didn't. This guy would. He had some gang ties and stuff like that. So I didn't know if he had a weapon on him or not. And I didn't want him to, and he was an older gentleman too. So, because you don't want to get caught up, you're trying to handle this guy, then the citizen is involved, and now you got to worry about the citizen. So, that's just too much. But I guess it's going to be a situation that dictates, Mike.
I agree. I mean, me personally, if I'm a citizen, and I'm riding by and I see an officer in trouble the way this woman was struggling, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna help.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But that's me personally. That's not.
Now, you're talking as now. Would you do that now that you're not?
I think so. Especially if I saw the officer on his last leg, like I'm saying. Yeah. If I saw him on his last leg to where he about to lose his life, you know what I'm saying? Or he about to be overrun. I'm a step in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if I see that they don't have the advantage, for sure.
But I ain't going to tell every citizen that that's what they should do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. Now, she shot her weapon. She fired her weapon. This is another issue. You have to understand, she's been struggling with this guy on the ground, using her taser numerous times. He still wouldn't do what she's telling him to do, So at that point, he starts fighting with her. He grabs her taser and throws it away. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if she knew he threw it away at that moment or not.
She knew.
But he grabbed it and he threw it away. And she had probably gotten to a point where she felt the last resort was to shoot this guy. You know what I'm saying? And that was the only thing that got him to calm down is she shot her weapon. Now, here's my thing, Corey. She could have killed him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if you that close, something tells me that it ain't no accident that you shot and didn't hit him somewhere solid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They hit him, and they said they hit him in the head, but my guess is it must have grazed him or something. Yeah. At any rate, it got him to stop.
And she didn't shoot anymore. So I mean, and that's how she was trained. She was able to get, because you can see he had overpowered her.
Yeah.
And I mean, once he got a hold of that taser and he threw it in the road, at that point, he was getting ready to overpower her. Yeah, I'd have shot him too. But it grazed him, and she was able to get positive control back over him. And so she holds him like that until helps arrive.
Yeah, and that's the thing about working the highways, man. Especially if your cover is not nearby. That I always thought that was dangerous. I don't know how you did it sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, you gotta be able to handle yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, male or female, it doesn't matter. You got to be able to handle yourself. And in a lot of situations, I mean, you 6'4" and 290 pounds, and and you're a female, you're a buck, 25 with all your gear on, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna sit here and try to go hands on with this guy, and you got to get him under control.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I'm not saying deadly force it would have been authorized and just I mean, got one punch and that guy. You ever see that video? We used to watch it in training all the time. They always showed it. A guy hit this female officer so hard she just fell, boom, smack down on. I said, "Oh my God!" But that could be anybody, though. It doesn't necessarily have to be female. But once a guy knows that he can dominate you, male or female, they're gonna take that advantage, right?
Yeah. And you have to assume that they're gonna take it. That even if they ain't, you have to, as an officer, you have to assume this person means to hurt me or kill me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to think that way. Otherwise, the worst can happen to you.
Right. That's why you have to maintain dominance over that person that you're going hands-on with, because you can't take the chance of them turning it on you. That's why.
Right.
You know
Correct.
So, in this situation, I can understand why at the last resort, she felt it necessary to shoot, to use her firearm. You know what I'm saying? I can understand that. And it worked because he stopped. Now, it's still a question of whether or not he clearly understands what she is trying to do. But at this point, as an officer, you can't assume that he don't understand you if he's fighting you. You know what I'm saying? If you're resisting me, I have to overcome that resistance under all costs. You know what I'm saying? At all costs. I got to overcome that resistance. You know what I'm saying? So, I can't in other words, I can't let you get over me to where now I'm at risk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All right. Let's keep going. It's almost over here, but let's keep it going. Her cover unit finally arrives. You know what I'm saying? But here we go.
Give me your hands.
She spent and he spent.
Yeah, she's tired.
Well, he ain't fighting no more.
No. Look at the citizen. You can see her breathing heavy too.
Yeah.
Let me answer Tone's question, Mike. So Tone asked me what did I do since it took my cover unit so long to come. Well, first, once I got there, and this guy he was drunk, and he didn't have a driver's license on him. He had open containers in his front seat, and I could smell the alcohol exiting his person. So I already knew, when you have a DUI, it's common practice for us. It wasn't policy, but it was common practice for us to always have a second trooper to assist you on that. Reason being is more for safety, because you're going to do your field sobriety test. You want to get them out the car. So at this time, I went back to my car. I told this guy to sit tight. Let me go start the paperwork. And meanwhile, I already called dispatch and, hey, send me another unit. Now, again, it was shift change, so I knew it would be a while for my backup come. So meantime, I told them that, hey, just see if you can get a city unit to come back me up. And he said, okay, cool. So while I'm sitting there, I'm starting filling out the summonses or week tickets. And as I'm writing, I'm looking up, I'm looking up. I see him crawl through the center console and get out the passenger side door and take off running up the highway. So now I'm on a foot pursuit with the guy. So and all now, when I went back and looked at the time stamp on the CD, it felt like an attorney tone. It felt like it was like an hour, but it was only like 10 minutes. But that was like the longest 10 minutes of your life, right? And you know, you're sucking air when you're down, because you got big bike, you know, you got all that gear on and you try to fight with somebody on the side of the road. That's a lie. And I mean, you're giving it your all. He's winning, you're winded, right? And I'm just using my hands now. I know some people will probably say in this situation here, Mike, with this young lady here, you know, why did she, you know, use her OC spray or whatever? Again, that's not something you always can use on someone, because you got to, especially if you're trying to go hands on and if you're too close, you get it on yourself. Now you're not going to be effective, right?
Yes, that's not something that everybody carried. You know what I'm saying? We got to a point where we no longer carried OCC spray.
Because you guys had the tasers.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have tasers, so we, you know what I mean, we had to carry the OC spray. All right, you know, and then you say, well, why didn't she, you know, break out her ass? Well, he ripped the doggone taser out of her hand and threw it away. What if he overpowered her again and took the ass and started beating her with it? Right. So your escalation of force is going to be totally different in each situation. Right. And she started off verbal, hey, get out of the car. He didn't get out. Now you got to struggle trying to get him out of the car. You move to the next thing, taser, because she's got to have the upper hand. He's a lot bigger than her and he's drunk. So there's no way for her to overpower him. So she had to use the taser.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it is, I believe he didn't quite understand how to respond to her, how to behave, or how to act towards when he got pulled over. You can blame that on his lack of, maybe he doesn't speak English very well, which you could always blame that. But I think that he really didn't understand what was happening. All he knew was, I'm getting tased over and over again, and I want to know why. Well, if you got a license to drive a car, okay, you better know the laws when it comes to being pulled over. And if the officer is telling you to get out of the car, you better get out of the car. If they're telling you to roll over, you better understand English enough to know that roll over means put your head behind your back and roll over. You know what I'm saying? That's basic stuff. If you don't understand those things, well, obviously you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. So back in my Navy days, man, I never forget, we were getting ready to go over into Tijuana, and we had all just bought a bottle of liquor. And we were getting ready to head up the stairs to walk over the bridge to go into Tijuana. And we got stopped by the police, right? Now, fortunately, in my situation, I was with a couple buddy of mine that spoke Spanish. You know, I understood. Even I was a little bit, I wasn't totally drunk, but I was getting there. When they were asking us for our IDs, it was just, hey, you know, ID. They kept going, you know, to their wallet and showing ID. So it's like, okay, what do you want? So Sparky was like, hey, man, they want our IDs. And long story short, we ended up getting robbed by the police. But we kind of, just by their gestures and things that they were doing, we kind of understood what they were trying to ask us or tell us to do. Of course, we had to give them $20 and they took our liquor. So we got robbed by the police going into Tijuana. But I think in certain cases, like if he had to know, okay, I need to submit now, right? It should be that universal thing. Okay, if I just stop and just lay here, and if she grabs my arm, just let her take my arm, then maybe the tasing will stop. But it's kind of hard to make those type of decisions when you're intoxicated.
Yeah.
You're not in the right frame of mind. So I
And
think
this guy was intoxicated. You know what I'm saying?
right. Even though she in their policy, Arkansas State Trooper policy, she didn't violate anything, no charge was brought up against her. I still think it could have been handled differently. They found no fault in her. And I really didn't either. It's just I would have done it differently.
Yeah, I would have done it different. I wouldn't have approached and pulled him out of the car in that manner. I ain't saying it wouldn't have gotten to that point.
Right. I mean, you got to understand from her point too. I mean, at that high rate of speed, your adrenaline is going to be high too. But she was cool. She didn't run up to the car and snatch him up. She was very nonchalantly walking up to the car. And then that's when she decided to, for whatever reason we couldn't see. And I wish we had body cam photos so we could see what was taking place inside the vehicle, what really caused her to, want to go ahead and snatch him out.
To basically climb in the vehicle like that.
Right. Right. And to climb in the vehicle like that. Again, I wouldn't have done it that way. Was it right the way she did it in her eyes? Yeah. Did she violate policy? No, she ain't violate no policy, obviously, because they didn't bring up her on any charges. Now, Arkansas is a little different, GOAT, right? They do things a lot different than most people, most states. But again, I think it was a good stop. I'm glad the guy didn't get killed. But at the end of the day, he wasn't going to follow the acronym CON because he didn't understand the language.
Or he was too drunk to understand everything that was going on. You never know. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? But this is a very interesting deal because this shows you how you could get into a scuffle and two people could be on different pages here, and you have to maintain control while the other person is trying to control you, basically. You know what I'm saying? So it happens that way.
It does.
That's pretty much it for the video. So just let me close this out. But anyway,
let us know what you think about this. Y'all chime in here. I mean, was it handled appropriately or not? I mean, if you were that trooper, how would you have handled it? Would you have gone to the point where you're snatching the citizen out of the car like that, or would you just talk to them long enough to get a better feel of their demeanor and which way you really want to go with this until your cover unit showed up? Let us know what you think. Drop us a comment down below, and if you want to watch this video in its entirety without us talking over it, the link is down in the description below. I already put it down in there, so you can watch it at your leisure. Other than that, Mike, I think it was a good video.
Yeah, it's a good video. Something to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Jesus Love You said, yeah, she made a horrible mistake in the beginning. Again, I don't think it was wrong. I think it could have just been handled differently. And it could, yes,
right to say it could have cost her life.
I will give you that. I will give you that.
If that happened, yeah.
Her decision to stick her body in that car like that, yes, it very well could have cost her life. Now, would that still made it wrong? No, it definitely was an officer safety issue. It definitely would have got talked about in a lot of offices throughout the country.
In other words, when I say wrong, was it legally wrong? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it wasn't right. Smart. It wasn't smart.
As far as officer safety goes, it wasn't smart. Like, okay, our mentality was Jesus Love was like, okay, the Joker want to pull off, go ahead. I got your tag. We can jump back in the car and we'll roll again. I've done that too before.
And perhaps she wouldn't have had to fight him at all if she would have just slowed down, waited for cover, okay, and see how it go. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps maybe they got somebody there who spoke Spanish. You know what I'm saying? You never know. A lot of things could have happened differently, I think, in this situation.
Yeah. It is a difficult situation to be in, especially when you have to deal with the language barriers and being here. I mean, you have so many different nationalities here, and you never know who you're gonna roll up on, and sometimes you're not gonna find translator for the person you're dealing with, and so you got to figure out, all right, well, how do I deal with this? You know what I mean, so that they understand. And it's that what do you got, that Google app thing works real well for the translations.
Where I always thought of it, if you have a license to drive, you better know everything you need to know with having that license.
Was that how it is in California? Are they just giving away, or do they have to actually take a driver's ed course?
Now, don't quote me on this, but last I understood, if you were illegal immigrant, you could still get a license here, a driver's license.
I don't see how that's possible.
Yeah. Now it's been a while. I haven't verified recently any of that. I don't know if they're still doing that, but at one time, it was my understanding you could still get that, even if you were illegal immigrant. So, if you get a license, though, then you better know enough English to know what you're supposed to do if you get pulled over by the cops.
You should. Yeah, you're right, Tone. You have all the time in the world, so what's the rush? What was she rushing for? Right? You got all the time. Now, again, he could have pulled off again, him being as drunk. Now, the article I read said he was twice the legal limit, so he's at 0.16. Yeah. So he was pretty drunk. And do you risk him pulling off again and not looking as he goes off into the road again, striking somebody or getting struck and then killing somebody?
Right. Plus, you could tell he was intoxicated, because who else is going to drive 100+ miles an hour right past a highway patrol dude?
Right. Right. Who's going to do that?
Who's going to do that? Yeah.
Who's going to do that?
Question why I get pulled over? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You exactly. Driving 100 miles an hour past me on the highway. That's why. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, you already know. He knows. He knew. So, all right, y'all. Hey, look, next week we will not be live. I have another engagement that I need to attend to next Thursday. Sorry, so we'll be back the following week, which would be, because Thursday, that's third, so we'll be back on the 10th. Thursday the 10th. So, but you ain't got a lot of videos on there. You can go rewatch and resend out for us. So again, hit that like, share, and subscribe button for us. We're gonna bid y'all farewell for tonight. It's time to watch some football. And God bless you. We love you. And we'll see you on the 10th. Mike.
All right, then y'all have a good day. Thanks, Tone. Thanks for joining us, Tone. Jesus love you, badass. I see you on here. I appreciate you guys joining us. It's always good to have you. Your comments flowing on here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Delando. I see you on here. Who else on here? Let me scroll up, see who you might have missed. I think that's it for now.
Yep, I got everyone. All right, y'all. Be safe. God bless you. We love you.
All right. Peace out.